Hello and welcome. In this video, I would like to talk about the current situation most of us are in right now. So we are in isolation, in quarantine, and we have to stick at home. And what at the beginning seemed to be a nice thing, like finally we're off, no work, no obligations, just having some time at home, now turns into after a couple of days or weeks, and when you have the outlook of staying home longer, it turns into something else. And after a while, you feel like you want to go out, you want to be somewhere else, but you cannot. And it, of course, depends on the restrictions in your country, wherever you are. So in some countries, it's very strict, so you cannot go 200 meters outside of your house, you have to stay in. And so you're basically locked in inside. And some other countries you have a bit more freedom, but still you are in isolation, you are in quarantine, and you cannot go anywhere. And now in this video I would like to talk about how we can make use of this time and how we can learn to stop being or going insane. So I talked to a friend of mine, and she says that she's really frustrated. She feels anger at the situation, anger at the government, at the virus. There's a lot of frustration going on. People feel like being at home all the time. They start to lose their mind. I mean, even you start out enjoying time, like you end up watching a lot of movies, or you distract yourself and you do all kinds of things that you think are fun. But you can do this only so many times. After a couple of days or weeks, and with the outlook of being stuck even longer, you notice that there is a shift and it's happening in your mind, and you feel like asking yourself, okay, what am I doing? What I am to do? I can't just watch movies all the time, or I can just lay in bed all the time, or I can't just do the things that I normally enjoy doing while I'm at home. And then you start to feel the need to go out, but you cannot. And you start to miss to do the things that you normally did. In normal life, you would be happy to be at home, but now you're actually at home and you feel more stressed than you did before. So um, we are stuck. We feel stuck. People feel isolated. You might feel like you're losing your mind, and all of this is just getting on your nerves. And sometimes might even you feel you snap. You just overreact, and the longer you stay at home, the worse it gets. But now the question is, now that we have all the time that we need or always wanted, why can't we just enjoy it? And I thought about it, and what came to mind is, what came to my awareness is that if you think about how the mind works, and if you are generally in a stressed or somewhat stressed um, state of mind, or if you feel like you need to be busy and you feel like you have a very busy lifestyle normally, and you have problems now to cope with this, then there is a very high chance that you are still in this stressful state of mind. And what's happened there is that if you are stressed or if you feel fearful, are also watching the news, and I mean, the virus can be scary for people, so you actually are afraid of this. So what happens is that you are that your mind is very stressed. You are in an anxious state, in a fearful state. And in this state, you are in survival mode. So you're in the fight or flight reflex, or in the fight or flight response of your body. So whenever there's a real threat, we get all the adrenaline, and we are ready to act instantly to fight whatever is there, or we just run away. And this is what happens all the time. And nowadays, with all these so-called irrational fears, so you have rational fears, which are actual life threats, and you have irrational fears, which are happening only in your mind. Like if you worry about the future, if you have a real life threat right in front of you right now, you are afraid, and you are rightfully so, and you can do something about it now. But anytime you worry about the future, even it's a virus, like say it might happen, you might lose your job, all these kind of things, or you might not have enough money, or you don't know how you're going to survive. But ultimately, these fears are in the future, and it can stress you out. And what happens then if you're stressed out? You're in this fight or flight response mode of the brain. And this is not only a mental state, this is actually a physical state. So the body reacts differently than if you would be relaxed and calm. So literally the blood is withdrawn from your brain areas that are used for creative thinking and problem solution and all the things. And you only use it in your older parts of the brain. So you're just reacting. And you are reacting in a way, okay, I want to escape, or I want to stay and fight it. And this naturally creates two things, which I see is happening right now. So we are trying to escape the situation, or we're trying to resist it. So since we're still stressed and we are in quarantine and we feel not at ease about the situation, we try to distract ourselves from it, which is in a sort of way that we try to flee from it, we try to escape from it. So how does it work? So we watch series, we play games, we watch the TV, but then again, we get fed with this negative news, with this constant bombardment of negativity that creates even more stress and more fear. And we are being stuck and isolated, cannot handle it anymore. The mind just, spins in circles and loops and all these kind of things. And the other thing is we can distract ourselves in many ways. We can also start drinking. Some people start drinking. Some people just feel depressed. They just shut down, or they feel sleepy. They just want to sleep and try to avoid it through sleep. The longer you stay, the more it can affect you this way. Or you try just to resist it. So you get angry at the situation. You try to fight it, but ultimately there is no real solution. There is no peace in you. And of course you blame the situation. But the question is, if you think about it right now, what is actually happening to you? Is there a real life threat? Is there something really threatening that you have to deal with right now? And what you will notice is that if you distance yourself from your thoughts, if you're not identify yourself with them, you can actually create a gap. You become the witness and not the participant. And the mind always takes you to all these future possibilities, to these potentialities, which are all negative if you're stressed, and you cannot see a solution. And then together with being stuck at home, it's too much. And eventually, if you're stuck in your head all the time, have these loops of constant fear-based thinking and then fear-based input from the news, there is no possibility that you can find solutions or think rationally. And it might start on a subtle level, but the more you're at home, the worse it gets. And I see this as it's actually happening even if we are normal at work, and normal life. It happens all the time. We're just not aware of it. Normally we have our work, our daily life to distract ourselves from all this thinking. Normally we can go out, we can escape in different ways, but we actually rarely ever accept the moment the way it is. We rarely ever just are in the moment. And if you would do that, you could actually find a solution. So if you think about your brain, you have these brain waves. So your brain waves are is something you can measure. So your thoughts, your state of mind creates a certain electromagnetic field around you, which can be measured. And if you measure this, we have different brainwave states where one brainwave is dominant, which is a certain frequency. So we have the beta range, which is above a certain range. I think it was 12 hertz and above, like 20 and all the way to 30 and 40 hertz is the beta range. And the more stressed we are, the higher this range is, the higher the frequency. And this is actually the cause why we are so depressed. You cannot escape it. But how do you escape it? I mean, how can you actually get rid of it? How can you be in your life? I mean, we are at home. We have more time than ever, and there is no real life threat. There is nothing which is actually disturbing us right now at being at home. And still, we cannot cope with it, and you cannot just be at ease. So, and if you are trapped in this thinking, you will never find a solution. So the solution is to lower your brainwave frequency through meditation, through sitting still and not consuming any news, don't read, don't watch the news, don't have any input to you, which fuels this thinking. And this helps you to actually reduce this stressful state. And yeah, this is what you can do with meditation, but also activity. So sometimes, or when we are able to do what we want, we are active, we can go out, we can compensate this differently. But now that you're stuck at home, it seems too much. It seems like the walls coming to you. So what I suggest you can try is to face this boredom, accept it, face this inevitability of the current situation. The moment that you're in right now is inevitable. So you cannot change it the very moment that is right now. And if you try to resist it, or if you try to escape it from it, you are also resisting life, because life is now. And if you resist life, you cannot experience it. And if you escape from life, you cannot experience it. And by sitting still, just you can stare at a wall if you want, or look out of the window. And if you are thinking, you will go mad. But if you just be and you perceive life, you can actually be very blissful. You can have such a great time in any moment, in any given time, because you accept the moment the way it is. You accept life. It doesn't mean that your destiny is it's all set out and you have to accept everything the way it is. I mean, the next moment can be anything, but right now Right now, the experience right now is the way it is. And life around you, the sun, the stars, the planet, animals, everything is the way it is right now. And if you accept into this, if you accept this, you integrate it into your experience. You expand. The more you accept, the more you integrate life, the more you make it part of your experience. And if you accept it, it becomes part of you. Your experience is part of you, and anything you experience becomes part of you. And so going into experiencing more than thinking is actually the way to stop losing your mind. I mean, the way to lose your mind, to stop losing your mind, you have to lose your mind. What do I mean by that? So if we are attached to our thoughts and spin around in those loops of anxiety and fear and um, escape mechanisms and distractions and resistance, we go mad. You will go mad because you fully identify with this, and the fear, the media, and all the situation will just drive you crazy. So if you detach from that, if you just let the thoughts be, you can just experience life. And now this becomes more and more obvious. Normally we have our lives to distract ourselves, but now we are inside, and we are not only forced to stay inside, but we are also forced to look inside of yourself. And inside is all that you need. It's all there. You just need to let it out, let it be. And if you stop the constant chatter in the mind and the constant input, you might actually feel the things that want to come out. It's all the time there. It wants to be experienced, it wants to go out yourself, your true, your frequency, your energy. It wants to be experienced, expanded, and it wants to grow. And your capacity to live life is related to your capacity to be now, to be in the presence, and to live life fully. Now you think now, okay, what should I do? I cannot do anything. But it's not about doing, it's about being. You just be around yourself. And why is it so difficult? And what are you ever gaining by doing the things if you cannot be with yourself? Because wherever you are, wherever you go, you will not be there if you are not already there. If you're not already with you, no matter what activity you do, you cannot be with you. You cannot arrive. You can have everything in the world, all the riches, all the fame, all the glory, but if you're not with you, you will never arrive. So now this time is a great chance because we are forced to stop, we are forced to look inside, and it's just a great opportunity for all of us to use this and to break through this cycle of constant escape mechanisms and resistance to what is. So how are you escaping? Think about how are you escaping reality right now in this time, staying at home? Are you constantly on the news? Are you constantly on the phone? Are you constantly distracting yourself, doing the things you like, which is fine? But are you constantly doing in the doing? Or are you actually able to be? And I can highly recommend you to look into this on a different level and to overcome this pattern which creates so much fear and anxiety in people. Because this fear and anxiety, as I said, is part of your system. Your body reaction changes and it makes you sick, it makes you ill, and it's a self-perpetuating cycle. If you think bad, you feel bad, and if you feel bad, you think bad or negative. And if you detach from this thinking and choose to think something else, or to not think at all, or to let the thoughts come and go and just be, then there is no anxiety, no fear. Because right now there is nothing to fear about. It's not about tomorrow, not about next week, not about next year, what might happen, what might not happen. It's about right now. And life is always now. And if there's a reason to be afraid right now, then be afraid. If there's a reason to feel the pain, but be fully there. Once it's over, and then you are present again. And you will notice that most of the time, there is no need to be fearful. There is no need to feel pain. There is no restrictions. There are no restrictions. There are no reasons to escape life. And even though you just sit at home, you can still experience the most wonderful life, because life is still functioning. Life is still beautiful, and nature is now starting. It's springtime, so everything comes to life, and we can just tune into this. We're just expanding our awareness, not our thinking. So in order not to lose the mind and come to your senses. Come to your senses in a way that just be more, do less. And I found this is the best way to overcome fear. And because you choose what you tune into, and you stop being reactive. Like we said, fight or flight, you react. But now you're proactive, because you choose to be present, and you choose to engage or not engage in this fear. And this is your freedom. This is your choice. Nobody is doing anything to you. Not the virus, not the government. Nobody is doing anything to you. You are doing it to you, to yourself. You are experiencing it. And you can choose to experience your life the way you want it to be. And this is a great chance to look inside, because we are forced. Now is the pause. The world is on pause. And what normally works for us doesn't work anymore. And as long as you're stuck inside, you cannot go back to the old life. And I have a feeling that it will not be the same once this is over. But whatever it will be for you what you make out of it. You cannot control the situation, but you can control your reaction to it and what you make out of it. And you might say, okay, it doesn't help the situation to just ignore it, to just sit and stare at a wall, or to not do anything. But at the same time, it doesn't help you to be afraid and panic, or to be stressed and angry, and to have the mood swings, and to go through all this emotional up and down. It doesn't help either. So why not make life as blissful as possible? And there is no limitation right now to feel as blissful as you want, other than your capacity to feel it, to receive it. And life force is always there. It's always coming through you. You are the life force. And you can just either block yourself from it, you restrict life, the life force that is unfolding through you and around you. You resist it, you escape it, you distract yourself from it, and rather go into the fear that is all there and is what you're used to, or you choose to pull back and be in that life, because life is unfolding in every single moment. Right now, life is here, life is unfolding, and Life is always new. Life is never the same. The mind thinks in repetitive patterns, in repetitive ways. So we think, oh, it's all the same again, the same again. But if you think about it, nothing in the universe, in the entire existence, ever repeats itself. It's always different. It's always new. It's always fresh. The sun, the planet moves around the sun, but no moment is ever the same. There's like, I see it, if you think about rhythm of life, so we have always up and down, we have circles, but nothing is an actual circle. It's always a spiral. So life is, it seems to repeat itself, but it's a spiral. It's never the same dimension. It's always different. And this newness, this this spark, this constant blossoming is always there. It's always in the now. And you can open up to it and experience it and invite it into your existence, in your experience, because you're not resisting it, you are accepting it. And by accepting it, you make it part of yourself. And by making it part of yourself, you feel so connected to it that you feel like the universe has your back. So you're supported, you're on the leading edge, you're riding the wave of life. You are at the tip, you are at the spear tip, at the fore end of life, at the tip of creation, all the time, all the time, all the time. And you just visit it, you witness it, you observe it, and you experience it. But if you're in your anxious and fearful and stressful mindset, you go away from this life, you escape it, you resist it, and you rather think about the things you have to do in the future in order to get somewhere so that you then can feel better. And this is what we normally do on a daily basis. We get from A to B all the time, all around, distracted, escaping, and thinking that we need to get somewhere. Now that we're at home, we have to realize this is not working, and when people start to realize that, but still there is no, they don't know how, they don't know what to do. You still think about doing. You have to think about being and stop thinking altogether. Just be. Don't think about being. Don't think about the now. Just be in the now and leave the thinking. Just observe the thinking like a river of, thoughts. They come and go. Don't hold on to them. Don't identify. Just let them come and go. Like life comes and go into existence and out of existence, but always new. And just to be so at awe to see this, oh, this is beautiful, this is life, then you don't need anything. You are completely blissed out. And this is what this video is about. So try to, what can you do then to make this happen? So my number one recommendation is meditation, because this allows you to, if you commit to daily meditation, I have a group, so you can come to the group and learn it there. And it helps you to just slow down your thinking and become present and aware of what you're thinking. And by this, you create a gap, you disconnect, and then you can, whatever you observe, you're not anymore, and you see life from a different perspective, from an elevated perspective. Not because you're better, but just because you see it from a bird's eye view, so to say. You see it, your perception changes. And if you change your perception, you will see that whatever you perceive changes too. As within, so without. As inside, so outside. So this is the principle of correspondence. And Another thing you can do is to stop consuming the news. So what will happen if you stop watching the news? What will happen if you don't know the latest updates about the status? And what does it give to you to know this? I mean, eventually you will know it anyway, but why are always following it? What does it add to your life experience? And there are other things you can stop doing, like anything that distracts you from being in the now, and then make it a practice to meditate every day. Start with 5 minutes and then increase to as many minutes as you want. I do 20 minutes every day, and I will teach you in the group. If you would like to join, it's for free. Just join the group and we will meditate together. And other than that, just if you can, go into nature, leave your phone at home, just experience life the way you can. If you cannot go out because you're not allowed to, just sit and don't do anything. You don't even need to meditate, just be and let your mind be free and your emotions, your feeling. If it helps, you can write down your thoughts to slow down the thinking, to let it out. But just sit down and be bored if you have to. Just do it. Now is the time to do that. Now is the time not to stay inside, also to look inside, because inside of you are all the answers, not around you. And um, this is a big opportunity for all of us. So with this, I would like to conclude this video. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know. And yes, thanks, and see you in the group maybe if you want. And if not, wish you have a nice day.